I'm sharing the screen with you. I hope you can see the screen. Is it visible, everyone, the screen? So you've all come here to the webinar series. The first one is today. The second one will be tomorrow in the evening. Okay, so I'll share the link and everything. But to begin with, welcome to the webinar on UPHESC 51 English Literature only. And we are going to talk about some analysis and some special things that can give you an edge, the winner's edge. So to begin with, of course, this is no news, it's an old news, and you all know about it. There were 133 posts in 50, and around 3,000 persons had filled up the form, out of which 1,800 had appeared finally in the examination. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, this is data from newspapers and all. So, of course, Directorate has not issued any such kind of data, but this is coming from reliable sources. So, as you can see, it's a newspaper clipping. So, 133 persons, they appeared, 133 posts, and 3,000 persons filled the form. 1,800, approximately 1,800 persons had appeared. So, out of which then, of course, 133 into 3, 1 multiplied by 3 were called for interview, and 133 selections were made. Now, if you look at the number of vacancies and come from admission 46 to 47 to 50 to 51, you will see that the number of vacancies had been the maximum in advertisement number 47, total 147 vacancies. And its minimum, nearly minimum or almost minimum, 61 and 62 are very close. So it's half in comparison to advertisement number 50, out of which, if you look at only general seats, then this happens to be the all-time minimum. That is, in advertisement 46, they had 45 seats in general category. In 47, they had 89, the maximum number in general category. In 50, they had 63 seats, out of which 5 were for physically handicapped defense personnel kind of seats. So 58 seats. 45, 89, 58, and now we are 28 or approximately 30 seats because 2 or 3 were increased later. So as you can see that 28 for general seats, 21 for OBC, 6 for EWS, and 7 for SC. This is the present state. And when we compare this to the previous advertisement, it is as you can see, it is almost half or even less than half the number of seats. So from general 60, it has become general 30. From OBC 40, roughly, it has become OBC 20, roughly. From EWS 10, yes, that's not much variation. But from SC 17, it has become SC 7. So you can see that even when we compare with that within 50, the seats have become half, 50%. If we compare with 47, we cannot compare. There is no comparison. So what does that mean? Because the number of seats has become half, so we can at least guess that the level of competition will definitely increase. And as you can see from the number of registrations and finally the number of people who have applied, that competition has increased manifold. And then also it has been, news has been circulating in the circles that advertisement 52 will be not very soon. So 51 happens to be, as far as near future is concerned, the only chance that people will get. Therefore, they are totally set at getting it. This, again, the same level of competition things, the number of seats. So as you can see, from 46, it went up in 47, went a little bit down in 50, and then came down again for 51. When we look at the cutoff for written examination out of 200 marks, this is not number of questions, this is marks. I have written the number of questions in the bracket roughly because there is a formula with which they multiply the actual number of questions attempted and they get the final marks, because they tend to cancel 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the number of questions is, and then they scale up from whatever number of question is remaining up to 100. So there is some formula, just like this time around there was 2.05 or something multiplied. So in 46, cutoff was, that is, cutoff is the marks at which you're called for the interview. So it's not the mark at which you are selected, it is the mark at which you are called for the interview. So in 46, you may say approximately 100 was the cutoff for unreserved and OBC. So that gives you 50 questions. If you had done 50 questions correct, you would be called for the interview. In case of SC, it was lower. 47 is a very exceptional thing. I have analyzed the paper separately, and I've seen the cutoff and everything, and I am unable to explain it because this kind of cutoff does not happen in UPHESC. You can see 46 and 50, and then look at 47. This is a huge drop from 46 and a very big drop from 50 also. So I call 47, the result of 47 and the cutoff of 47, an anomaly. It generally does not happen, but then as it is there, so the cutoff was 53.06 or approximately 26 questions. So from 50 questions, we have come to 26 questions, that is half. And then it rose again to 55 questions. Depending upon a little bit of extrapolation and guessing, I think that in the coming UPHESC at Revision 51, the cutoff will be somewhere like 128 marks or 64 correct questions in general category. Looking at the trends of OBC and SC, OBC and EWS will be close. So OBC or EWS 116 or 58 questions, and SC 104 marks or 52 questions. So the cutoff is going up, definitely going up. But then the cutoff does not define final selection. So it does give a rough estimate, but then it doesn't define the final selection thing. But we'll talk about that later. So this is how the cutoff came down 47 and then went up again 50. And if 51 is not an anomaly, and I will talk to you about that, why it's not going to be an anomaly, then 51 will be a little bit higher, not lower than 50, the cutoff. So I repeat, 64 questions we are benchmarking for general category. That is the final cutoff, below which it is going to be really very difficult to be called for the interview. Okay, I have my reasons. First one is that the number of seats is half in comparison to 2050. And the second one is when we come to the analysis of paper and syllabus, we'll find out that there are more reasons for this thing that is going to happen. So the cutoff for written out of 200 marks will definitely go up. If you have any queries, any questions up to here, please do tell us. If you want to ask anything, if you want to share your own experiences, and of course, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your experiences, right? I know Deepthi ma'am, of course, and I know Mohit. Yes, we have been together for some time now. So I know Deepthi ma'am and Mohit and their experiences, but do I know you, Pooja ma'am, and Ansh Sharma and Kalpana?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So yeah, I know Pooja ma'am too. Do I know the rest of you? The two, Ansh Sharma and Kalpana Vedic Guide. Have we talked or met? Do you want to respond?
I don't think so. I just saw on the web, Facebook, and so I joined the web.
Are you in English literature subject, ma'am?
Yeah, I am teaching as a contractual faculty in one of the colleges.
Wonderful, wonderful. But I was worried that a person of non-English, if they join, they will not benefit so much from it. So that's why I asked the question. And Kalpana Vedic, ma'am, are you also from English literature? Can you hear me?
Hello, sir. I am from English literature.
Wonderful. So hello. Yeah, that I was just confirming that we are at the same page. So as we are all from English literature, and have you also appeared in any previous UPHESC examination, Kalpana ma'am and Ansh Sharma?
Sir, Sir, I gave advertisement number 50.
Good, good, wonderful. Would you like to, tell us a little bit about your experience? I mean, how was it? What happened? Your marks
Sir,
or the...
actually, hello.
Yes, yes, go on. We can hear you.
Sir, I gave interview.
Good.
Paper was so tough. Actually, I was unable to complete the whole syllabus.
There was a common problem. Yeah, that's right. There was a common problem. And there was a reason behind that. They completely changed the linguistic syllabus. They added sections in other syllabi, and they added one more, new literature in English, one full unit. So it was difficult to cover the whole thing. So how much did you get in written examination, man? If you want to share it, otherwise it's okay. How much did you get in the interview? If you appeared in the interview, I mean. No? Okay, let it be. Ansh Sharma, ma'am, is that your name, real name?
Yeah,
Hello.
that's my name.
Okay, ma'am. So, do you have any experience with UPHESC people?
Yeah, I did appear for the examination.
Okay.
And I qualified for the interview. In the interview,
Fine.
I scored somewhere around 24 marks.
Good, good.
So,
and how many
but
questions of yours were correct according to the final key in the written examination, if you want to share?
Yeah, I think the final score I remember was somewhere around 150.
150. Give me a minute. Okay, I have the result.
130. It's not 150. It's 130 something.
Sometimes it slips. That's not a big deal. But now I'm just thinking that sometimes I forget cutoff and all kind of things. Just wait. So unreserved final selection was Sonali Bhattacharya, right? So she had 26 in the interview and 127.84 in the written examination. I repeat, selected in unreserved category, the final selection was Sonali Bhattacharya, and she had secured 127.84 marks in the written examination. So after which there are only waiting or not selected in the category people. So you were approximately 10 questions behind the cutoff, right? If I'm not wrong. And did you analyze it? I mean,
actually, I had not prepared anything. It was just a random exam I had taken. I'd just given birth to my daughter a month prior, so I'd just gone and taken the exam.
Right.
There wasn't
no, but still
any strategy.
you scored well. You were almost there. Had you prepared the new literature section and linguistics section, you would definitely have been in. So I'm just saying that yours was a close call. I mean,
yeah, I think the major problematic areas that emerge are the linguistics area, because
Definitely.
that's something we do not find in any one particular book. And
Right.
The second thing that we struggle with as UPHESC aspirants is the general knowledge portion, because
that's a big problem.
the
Yes.
books that are available, they are available in Hindi, and so most of us, I guess, we are not very comfortable with the terminology that is used because it's very technical, and that is, I think, where we lose marks.
No, there is one more problem. I mean, I had collected some books. I asked other people and I collected some books, some good books. But there's some problem, software problem with English people. I don't know. I talked to other person also. We don't have this interest in GS area. So, we tend to neglect the GS area and postpone it till the last month or last 2 months. And we focus upon the literature area because it's interesting also, it's our field also. So, we neglect the literature area and we focus upon the literature. We neglect the GS area, enjoy the literature area and focus upon that. And we forget that 25 questions, at least 20 to 25 questions. If you want to score respectably in the examination, then you need 20 to 25 questions in GS, and you need it badly too. So, and that is where us English people, we fail. Political science people, they are so very good in GS. 20 plus is easy for them. But we are stuck somewhere around 20 questions. 15 to 20 is our range. How many did you get correct, if I may ask?
I never checked the answer key. I just saw the final
No problem.
answer.
No problem. So I was asking this because this is a common problem. GS and linguistics. They many of my own known persons, because of these two things, their written score went low. My own written score went low because of GS. I could make only 18 correct questions. So 18 is a very low score, and that's why my merit went low too, and I lost. Yeah. In the merit, in the rank, but that's another story. So yeah, I'm going to share another screen with you guys. This is the real analysis that I invited you for. Sorry for taking some time over there, because some of warm-up kind of thing was also necessary. So here we go. Oh yes, this is the first in a series of webinars, because there is a lot of content and we do not have infinite time. So there will be tomorrow, that is Monday, if you guys are available, a continuation of this same session. Will it be okay for you guys if I take a weekday and some time of that weekday from you? Because we have 40 minutes in Zoom sessions. That is 40 minutes today. And I don't think in 40 minutes we'll be able to cover the whole thing. So that's why I'm asking right now, that if tomorrow we meet at 8 p.m., will it be okay for you guys? I've not decided on time yet. So, there is some flexibility. So what time will it be okay for you to meet for the last final session of webinar? If you don't tell me, then I'll fix it at 8. That is presuming silence is assent. Mohit, where is Mohit? Pooja ma'am, is it okay with you?
Yes, sir. It is okay.
Okay, and Mohit,
Yes, sir,
will that
I'm
be
also
okay
good.
with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Ansh ma'am, will it be okay with you?
Yes, sir, perfect.
Okay, Deepthi ma'am, will you be available at around 8 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then Kalpana ma'am, will you also be available?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. So we start the analysis. Wherever the session ends, don't worry about that. We'll catch it up from that session onwards. And remember, analysis of result, analysis of syllabus, and analysis of the paper, starting from 46, because that was the first written examination of UPHESC. Before that, it used to be interview and all kind of things. 46 was the first written examination. So when you analyze these things, I prepared alone. I had no group. There was nobody to tell me. Even today, I think there is not a lot of material available upon UPHESC. While I was sitting outside the interview hall, all the my colleagues of mine who were sitting there, I asked them, from which material did you prepare, or what kind of guidance did you have? And all of them, including me, we had similar problem. A, there was no material, and B, there was nothing specifically aimed at UPHESC preparation. So even there, I had thought that my position was secure, so I knew what was going to be. So even there, I had thought that I would do something about it. But this is what I'm doing. I'm sharing my experience, because I've not told you about myself, but we'll talk about that later. I have two selections, one in this one and one in 46. Why I appeared in this one, that's a long story. I'm still working with my old position. I did not join this new position. I wanted to go to my hometown, and the transfer policy is very convoluted. So there is no way I can return until I'm a very powerful person and I know many persons, because I don't. Therefore, I thought to appear in the exam. My rank was 13, and there are many things that happen in between. So I could not get the place where I wanted to go. But then, yeah, I got knowledge, a lot of analysis. This begins now. First of all, for 46 and 47 number advertisements, these were, if you could see, these were the instructions given in the beginning of the syllabus. These instructions, they do not appear in 50 and 51. And there's a big reason behind that. But before we go to the reason and how the pattern is set beforehand, let us look at 46 and 47 instruction. The following outline of the course content has 4 sections. The question paper should cover all the sections. The number of questions on each section should not exceed 40. That is 40 maximum questions from each section. Each selection should be represented by a minimum of 10 questions. That is minimum 10 questions from each section, maximum 40 questions from each section. And this one is important. This is what I want to emphasize. Obscure and complex questions should be avoided as far as possible. This obscure and complex question should be avoided as far as possible is not present in the instructions of advertisement 50 and 51. This was present in advertisement 46 and 47. And when we go to the analysis of paper, we'll find out that they followed the instructions and they avoided obscure and complex questions as far as possible. But you have taken advertisement 50 paper and you totally know that it did not avoid at least complex questions, if not a couple of obscure questions. Coincidentally, the obscure questions were actually deleted later, but they were there. So neither obscure nor complex questions were avoided in UPHESC written 51. And my guess is that they will not be avoided in 51 also. So 50 and 51 have the same syllabus, same set of instructions, and similar kind of papers. 46 and 47, they had same syllabus, similar kind of instructions, and similar kind of papers. Questions should be so designed as to test the candidate's knowledge and understanding of movements, outlines, and text. This is nothing new. So the new thing was the level of complexity. When we go to the analysis of papers, you will see that the level of complexity theory holds good. So I have outlined with yellow the sections that are common in UPHESC revision 46/47. They had the same syllabus. And in UPHESC revision 50/51, they have the same syllabus. Generally, syllabus changes at the passage of 4 or 5 years. So because between 50 and 51, 4 or 5 years did not pass. And between 46 and 47 also, that period did not pass. Therefore, those 2 syllabi are the same syllabi, but between 47 and 50, the time period passed, therefore they had a new syllabus. So unit 1 of 51 or 50 is the same as the beginning of the first section of the previous one. But then if you look at the drama part, you will find that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are only 10 texts that were also prescribed in the previous advertisement. And in Harold Pinter's case, they changed from the homecoming. Now we have the birthday party syllabus. So the British drama syllabus was heavily augmented. Earlier, it was basically a lot of Shakespeare and a lot of Bernard Shaw. But now it is a more, representative kind of syllabus. Then when we look at British prose and fiction, you can see again that prose section was totally rewritten. Earlier, it was only Addison and Steele and half the number of essays in the present syllabus from Charles Lamb. There was no Bacon, there was no Carlyle, Hazlitt, Macaulay, Woolf, or Orwell. Even Jane Austen's Emma was there, and Pride and Prejudice has been changed now. Dickens only one, Great Expectation, was there. Now A Tale of Two Cities has been added. Thackeray's Vanity Fair was there. Now it is not there. Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway was there. Now it is not there. And Iris Murdoch's The Sea has been added. So prose section was rewritten. Poetry, you can see, is barring a couple of changes, like the inclusion of a lot of John Donne and Thomas Gray. and of course, Geoffrey Chaucer. The syllabus did not change much in poetry. As you can see, Wordsworth, Keats, Tennyson, Browning, Arnold, Yeats, Eliot, the texts are almost the same. Small changes in Larkin, one change in Auden, kind of changes, but it did not change much. Literary theory and criticism syllabus remained the same with only one change. Theory and literary criticism section was expanded at least threefold. Remember, I repeat, theory section was expanded at least threefold, and the impact was reflected upon a 2050 paper. If you have, you remember some of it, if you remember the paper, you also may remember that there were a couple of questions, especially from Indian poetics, from deconstruction, kind of, theory questions that would not have been possible at the earlier level of instruction or complexity and with the earlier syllabus. So as you can see, I'm linking the change in syllabus and the change in the instruction in syllabus with what is reflected in the question paper, the level and pattern of questions, and the kind of questions asked. So I repeat, to recap the thing, as you can see, the change was in British drama section, and the number of questions asked from non-Shakespearean and non-Shawian sources will tell you that, the change was reflected in it. And the kind of questions asked that were analysis based, the kind of questions asked that wanted, that were very much like net, UGC net kind of pattern questions that would take time, that were complex in nature. They totally tell us that the expansion of syllabus and the removal of the term obscure and complex question should be avoided. They resulted into what we got as UPHESC 50 paper. And same is for prose section. Same is for the added, a little bit of it, added syllabus of poetry section, but major changes start happening now, especially in theory section. In American literature, a little bit, yes. But in Indian literature also a little bit, yes. But here in linguistics, everything changed. I have, for your benefit, made the parts that changed red in color. So section 5 was linguistics, phonetics, and modern grammar in edition 46 and 47. And the whole thing was revamped into something new. As you can see in edition 50-51, unit 9, linguistics, phonetics, and modern grammar. They kept the name, of course. But as you can see, from linguistics as a science, historical linguistics, and social linguistics, and characteristic features of linguistics and origin of speech, from 1 to 5, they conglomerated the whole thing into 1 and 2, properties of human language and scope and branches of linguistics. In these two, you will have to cover all these topics, 1 to 4, up to characteristic features of language. Then they added language varieties and language change, Saussure's concept of sign immutability and mutability. Organs of speech and phonemes were there from before, but they were modified into and enhanced into speech mechanisms and phonemes in English, the first topic. But then consonant clusters, syllable and word stress, and questions were asked from here. They were not in the previous syllabus. Morphemes is very short, but when we talk about, and questions were asked again from morphology, when we talk about morphology and syntax, a huge part, syntax was not there here in the previous syllabus. If you see, Chomsky's transformation and generative grammar and Leach's communicative grammar again were not there in the previous syllabus. Word formation is a part of morphology. So English morphology will cover word formation. Sentence structure and phrase, they may be roughly compared to syntax, but syntax is vast, it's much more. And when you add Chomsky and Leach to that whole syllabus, you reach up to point 10 of the previous advertisement. And then you've got stylistics, that is the first topic here. But then by adding discourse analysis, they have expanded. And ELT, ESP, and language planning were not there at all in the previous syllabus. So you can see approximately 40 to 45% of syllabus of linguistics is totally new. And of course, the whole syllabus, the whole part was rewritten, and a lot of emphasis was put upon linguistics, and the result is totally reflected in the paper. I repeat, and that's why we need to, compare and contrast the previous papers and syllabi with the present paper and syllabus, and so that we can understand the one that is coming. Too much emphasis on pattern, too much emphasis on background preparation may sound a little bit like an overkill, but believe me, looking at what has happened with 50, you may remember that, the top scorers. Yeah, should I share it? Yes, let's do this. So if you see, go towards the top of the list, then you will find out that the top scorers, they are scoring something like approximately, starting from 7 and going up to 1, at least 170 marks. So that will give you how many questions? 2, 8 is 16, and then 10, 5, 85. That is 85 questions. I'm not talking about interview marks. I'm only talking about the written marks. You see, only the written marks. So 171.13 here, going up to 177.32. Even if you roughly take it at 170, peg it at 170 because 2 point something was multiplied, that gives you 85 questions correct. And then when you come down also, you will find this is also close to 170, these two guys. So, in the top 10, at least 8 or 9 persons, 9 or 8 out of top 10, they had secured 85 correct answers minimum, going up to 90 correct answers approximately, 88, 85, 87, 88, something like that. So from 85 to 88, the top 10 have scored. There are many talks about that. I will not go into that, but they did score something like this, and this is in the list. Now, even when you go 10 below and you go up to 20, Mr. Prajapati, even then you will find that approximately 140, that is 70 questions still. So the top 20 or even below, you are stopping somewhere at the top 24. So the top 20 or 24 persons, they have done 70 questions, right? And the top 10, it is stopping at approximately 85 questions correct. Now, if you look at this kind of pattern, I find no reason to believe that when the number of seats has become half, exactly half, this pattern of marks is going to change. I will take a pause here, and I will invite you, because you also have, all of you have experience of UPHESC, to contradict me. Do you think my analysis is wrong? And do you think that it will be easier this time around, or the final selection will, and the merit list will show another kind of structure? Like Mohit, what do you think? Will it be tougher or easier this time around?
Very tougher, sir.
So, our guess that this time around the top 10 will be more than just 85, and top 20 or 25 will be more than just 70. I totally believe that this is a very real possibility, a very dangerous and real possibility. Now, Deepthi ma'am is here, and she also knows a couple of things. Deepthi ma'am, what do you think? 51? Will it be tougher this time around? It will become easier this time. Looking at
beyond the math.
okay.
Beyond the mathematician.
Jitendra Mishra sir is there. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar. How are you?
Fine, sir. Fine.
I was only counting, ma'am. Okay, everyone, this is my friend and Deepthi ma'am's husband, Professor Jitendra Mishra. He was selected twice, sir, 46 and 47, right?
Yes, sir.
But then he
Twice,
joined with
right.
me. He joined with me in 46. So we have known each other for a long time now. And I had invited him specially, so because I needed some expert suggestions. So, sir, you also believe that it's going to be even tougher than 50 this time around, and top
Yes, yes,
20,
sir.
top 20 will be 75 plus at least.
At least.
At
If you
least.
are able to secure 75 questions,
Hmm.
apart from interview, I think that you are in a safe zone.
Right.
Otherwise,
You need to be in safe zone, sir, because in the interview, as you can see, I mean, even the toppers are getting 14 marks. So,
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do remember rank 10. He got 14
Yeah.
in the interview. So everything is happening in the interview. So if you want to secure your seat, 70 to 75 questions, they are very, very important. Because, you
Yeah.
know, towards the bottom, when it slips, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Very talented people this time around. I know them personally, some of them, and I totally wish that they are selected. They are very good, but because of one or two questions, you know, they were not in the final list. So I still have regrets for their not being selected. They were good. They would make very good teachers. But then, you know, when you are towards, you know, the bottom zone, it's always risk. So my suggestion would be 70 questions, and it's not going to be easy until you are totally prepared, you know, with this kind of exhaustive analysis of syllabus, of background, of pattern, of the number of questions. You can't take chances. We appeared in 46, sir and I don't think that there was no papers and there were no previous patterns. So we had not analyzed anything. We just went there, appeared in the paper, and, you know, maybe because we had some preparation and a lot of, by the grace of God, you may say, I was selected, and sir will speak for himself. But I totally think that because of my UGC net preparation, and, you know, because it was the first paper, first time round, so despite not knowing much about the thing, because there was no pattern, and despite not having very solid notes with me, I was selected, rank 18. But I think that only happened in 46, after which 46 it dropped totally down, and 50 it went totally up, and 51 is going to be higher. So, you know, you need to totally professionalize your attitude. Only if you go there without preparation, you may be called